Hey guys, Zero here, and I'm going to be coming to you with a deck profile. I'm going to be going over my Infernitys again for the new format, what changes I've made. It's still very similar, you know, Torrential's obviously back, well, I guess not back, but it's up to 2. And I was going to run a second Torrential in here, but I just can't justify it. It's hard to find room, and Infernity is one of those decks that once you've gone off, Torrential is kind of crappy because you draw that thing late game and you already have all that field presence, and it's just kind of redundant. So there are some changes, but it's still very similar. I've just kind of made some meta calls, and I've changed a few cards here and there, and just finally came to some some conclusions of what I think runs best. Also, as you guys know, Call the Haunted's back up to 3, which is crazy. I think 3 Call is good. I haven't really tested enough in here yet, but I really can't find the room. And once again, I just can't justify 3 when sometimes 2 is dead as it is if you can't dump stuff in the graveyard fast enough. So without further ado, I'm just going to get to the deck, guys. I'm going to talk about the changes. So 3 Infernity Archfiend. It's Archfiend, you got to run 3. 3 Necromancer, staple. And of course we have the, sorry, I got dark all of a sudden. We have the 3 Infernity Beetles. Now, some people are going to be like, why are you running Beetle this format when Trishula is now gone? We still got Mist Wurm, guys, and this is just a hint to all of you. If you haven't purchased your Mist Wurms yet, that thing is going to go up to probably being $25, $30 in my opinion, because now that Trish is gone again, it is the best level 9 synchro in the game. As far as I know, it's really the only level 9 synchro that any deck can really get out. So I still like Beetle for that. The nice thing about Beetle as well is you can go Gotchi, which is still an amazing card, and then I can always Synchro climb as well into a 6 and then an 8, and it just gives me an easier way of making Brionac, which is still, in my opinion, one of the best Synchros in the game, and it's very good in Infernity. Plus, I think it's going to be even more important in this format now that Trish is gone. We're going to need something to get rid of those XYZs that are really hard to get off the field, such as Zen Mains and Gotchi. So I think Beetle, you're going to have to run 3 this format, guys. I think the Avenger build is still going to be good, but with everyone going to be maining Max C's at 3 and Valor at 3, you really need to have a little more control in the deck. You need to slow play it until you can explode successfully. That sounded very inappropriate, but but what can you do? So yeah, 3 Beetle, guys. Run 3 Beetle. You have to. Next is Infernity Mirage. I still like 2. I think 2 is still great. Yeah, it can be a dead draw sometimes, and sometimes it clogs the hand, but until we get Lavalval Chain, I'll be sticking with the Mirage build. I think once we do get Chain, I'll be going probably over to the Summoner Monk build with the what's it called? Zero Max. Zero Max is really good. But until then, I'm sticking with this. The one thing that you guys are going to be saying is, oh, Infernities are dead this format because everyone's going to be maining the Maxis and the Valors. I honestly don't think it will be. I think that Debunk is going to be a staple in the side deck for this deck, and I think Debunk's actually going to gain a lot of value as well. You know, a lot of people weren't really playing as much last format, but now that it's like this format, it's just going to be very crucial. And I can see at windups maybe even maining it just so they can get their loop off successfully. But I really don't think Maxi is a problem. You just kind of have to play around it. And the nice thing about Infernities is, and I've done this once, you can deck people out with Maxi because you're just doing so much specials on in one turn. If you get that loop going and you got the Beetles in the grave at the same time, you can usually, like I said, deck somebody out if it's, you know, mid-game. So it's actually quite impressive what the deck can do. Now, of course, there's going to be Effect Veiler as well. Effect Veiler sucks, but that's just something we're going to have to deal with. I still think Infernity is a very viable deck. 1 Infernity Avenger. I still like the 1 Avenger just for the loop. And it gives you some other synchro options like 5s and whatnot with Archfiend. 1 Dark Grepher now. I'm not running 2. Once again, Valor really hurts this deck. So I'm going to be focusing a lot more on the Infernity Infernos this format, and I think I finally come to the conclusion that even though 3 Inferno can be dead sometimes, I think you have to run 3. That's just because there's not as many cards to stop it. It is chainable with MST, which it seems a lot of people are running 3 now, rather than the Heavy Storm, and it just gives you some leeway. So I like the 1 Dark Grepher over 2, and that's why I'm also running 1 Armageddon Knight now. It just makes the plays a little more consistent, makes your Rhoda a little more consistent, And this is actually, you can do some really nice plays if you open up with just this and some other spells and traps in your hand. You can usually go off turn 1 if you open up with this and you have the right spell cards. So I do like the one Armageddon Knight. Last monster is Stygian Street Patrol. He's still a great card. Now that Trishula's gone, I really, once again, think that Infernities are going to be still viable just because they can't play Trish. You know, that's bad. At the same time, it means that they can't be Trished, which is also very good, because that was the one thing with Infernities I always noticed is if I got Trished before I could get my setup going on, I lost. It's really hard to come back from that. But now that Trish is gone, really the only threat you have is like Brionac or someone OTKing you first. And I think that Infernities is really going to show that it's still got its chops. So that's the monsters, guys. 15 monsters. Moving on to the spells. I'm still running the 2 dualities. I'm still not completely sure on these, but I do like the consistency's sake. It's really good opening first turn if you need to do some setup. Just helps with the bad hands a little bit. Otherwise, I probably would take these out for a mind control and maybe an Allure of Darkness, but as for now, I do really like the dualities how it is, so they're staying. Now, as you guys know before, I was running 2 MSTs in Heavy Storm. You guys have probably seen this a lot, especially the last YCS, that a lot of decks aren't even running Heavy Storm anymore. They're just running the 3 MSTs. Now, I think that's because, not just because of Starlight Road, but because a lot of the time people are just going to be setting 1 back row anyways, and the chainability of MST is just so crucial. And in this deck especially, I'm always usually going to have a lot of back rows, so Heavy Storm is really only good when I'm going off, say my opponent has several back rows, or it's good if I go second and my opponent sets a bunch of back rows and I go just Heavy Storm turn 1. My turn 1, of course. So that's really the only time it's good. If you draw it late game, it's a horrible top deck late game when you have, you know, a bunch of barriers and stuff set. I'd rather draw into the MST just for the main fact that I, of course, can set it, use it later on, or I can activate it. And once again, like I said, it's chainable, which Heavy Storm isn't. Obviously, the 1 Launcher card's still amazing. The 1 Rhoda, I wasn't running this before, but I did take out a trap. I forgot what it was, but I took out something to put this back in. I am very happy I did this. I thought that with the dualities it would be okay without the Rhoda, but this just adds even more consistency. It's Rhoda. Whatever. 1 for 1. Really, this is the only deck I can think of now that this card's actually going to be used in now that Plant's dead. I really don't know what other decks are going to be running 1 for 1. I'm sure there's some I can't think of, but, you know, 1 for 1 is awesome in this deck. Foolish Burial, obviously, dumps whatever you need in the grave. I still like the 1 Book of Moon. It's very good against Insectors and the Rabbit matchup, so that's really good. Reborn, I was a little upset at first this wasn't banned, but at the same time, now I'm happy because Infernities, you know, it's amazing in the deck. And I actually do like Reborn. I really don't think it's as broken as people think it is. Sometimes it can be a pain, but other times it can also be a savior, so it's a very good card. And I still like the Dark Hole just because Thunder King is still a BITCH, so that's pretty important. So on to the traps. Obviously we got the 3 barriers. This is very good, this format. Against rabbits, it's very good against insectors, and if you can get off first turn, Infernities, and that's another thing, Infernities is fantastic against windups, guys. Now, you might always not open up with that really big monster hand, but Infernities is still one of the best top-decking decks in the game, probably next to Lightsworn. So, if you can go off turn 1, you have no hand, the windups can't do anything against you. Rabbit really can't get over any of your big monsters. So, yeah, this Infernities, I think, is going to be really legit still next format. Now, as you guys know, I was having a hard time deciding between this. This was two Infernos and 1 Break. I decided I don't really like Break that much now. I just don't think it's crucial. A lot of times I'd be hitting set monsters, but we'll see. I might put 1 back in. We'll see how it goes. But now the deck's going to be so tight on space, like I said, I still kind of want to put in another Call of Haunted and try that out. But we'll see what happens. This is just important because, of course, I cannot stress enough how important your early game setup is, and you need to open with your Inferno. And even though you have the Dark Grepher and the Armageddon Knight, the Veiler is just going to be so popular in this format that those cards could end up being a little more detrimental than useful. So I think the Infernity Inferno is actually going to be a staple at 3, if it wasn't already before. So I'm still running 2 Call of Haunted, like I stated. I just can't find room for the 3rd one. I really don't even think it's that important. I find a lot of time even 2 Call of the Haunted can clog up your back row if you use it on an Archfiend and you synchro with it, because then this thing's stuck there. And if you don't make the Brionac like bounce it back to your hand, I don't know, it's kind of dead. I actually might end up trying to take out one of these and put it in that second Torrential, but we'll see what happens. And of course we have the Solemn Brigade. Oh, I just lost a bunch of stuff. So 2 warnings and a judgment. That's pretty stable. What's that, guys? Lost some cards here on the ground. I didn't bend anything. No, looks fine. I still like the one Mirror Force. Some of you guys might be like, take this out for the second Torrential. What are you doing? It's Mirror Force. It helps me sit up, and it's an anti-Thunder King once again. So, and then of course the one Torrential Tribute. No more Dust Shoot. I wasn't actually running Dust Shoot towards the end of the format anyways. I didn't really like it in here. So that's the deck, guys. Let me know what you think about Infernities for the format if you're an Infernity player yourself, or even if you're not an Infernity player. What do you think, or how do you think the deck's going to fare against the other decks in the format? I think it's going to be really do really well. I think this next format's still going to blow chunks, but you know, I really don't want to quit. I'm just going to end up playing the decks that I love, and I'm just going to have fun with it. And if I run into a wind-up deck or something on Pojo, or not Pojo, what's it called, Dueling Network, then I'll probably just quit. I know it sounds like a pussy thing to say, but I just don't have the time to watch someone play with themselves. Which is funny coming from an Infernity player's aspect or point of view, because you know Infernity's a little bit herpy-derpy when you get the combos going, but there's nothing worse than watching a wind-up player. Anyways, guys, that's the deck. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to favorite this video, and yeah, have a good day. Peace.